Okay, so hey everybody, welcome back to JSMFX for another episode and edition of Forex analysis, forecast, and also reviews for the date of 25th of August to 29th of August 2025. So today we're going to start off with the news. Okay, so strap up and let's begin. So checking in on what's coming next week. We have on Monday, for me, I see new home sales and also new home sales here. I'm not really expecting much from Monday coming in next week because this one is not that it's not that significant for me, if I may say. Tuesday also durable good orders. Also this I've chosen to put on only the high impact news, so that's why you only see the high and not those others that maybe are not of importance, and that's just my preference. Okay, Wednesday also I'm not seeing anything um important, because if you check, this is the euros, that's where maybe we can have some few news maybe moving the market, but for me they're not that important, so I won't be concentrating much. Going on Thursday, we have the continuing jobless claims, also the GDP growth. Now, here is where maybe I can give some interest. I can have some interest on the market and also the charts to check on maybe the direction it wants to give us, depending on what I'll be expecting from the news here on Thursday. And then on Friday, all this, I think that there'll be so much of activity and volatility going on because of all these news. As you can see, we have some on the yen, or rather on the Asian, and also the euro. And coming down to the US now, we have the PCE. This is where now I'll be very attentive to, because PCE also moves the market. So I think for this day on Friday, I'll be very, very attentive to see what the chart will do with the prices and also the market itself at large. Just as the same way I think Powell's speech started off this week. Sorry, ended off this week. That is yesterday on Friday, the 22nd of August 2025. So let us now start our analysis and also focus for our forex pairs. That is going to look at Euro USD and USD CHF. So let's begin. Okay, so starting off with the Euro USD, let's begin and see what we have in store and what we could be expecting. Now, for this pair, I just want to say that there's a lot of drama that just happened this week that just passed. And for that matter, I just want to be very honest with you. I've faced several losses, and that put me in a bit of a drawdown, but still in profits, especially on the Pro challenges, first one of FTMO, and also the instant funding, which I'm trying to, bring it back up to break even, because it wasn't a very good start coming in this week. Okay, so for that reason, that gives me so much conviction that it wants me, my intuition just wants me to like take a step back and think of what is really going on. So for that matter, I'm going to start off with the monthly to see on the whole picture, and also break it down to lower time frames to see on the next moves that maybe we could be anticipating coming in next week. So starting off with the monthly on Euro USD, start off from here, we had a low, and then we had a high. Somewhere around there, we had a change of character. Okay, so if you've never understood my ways of doing analysis, I normally use SMC strategies. So for those that have done SMC, I'm sure you'll understand what change of character is. Now we are there, and then we went up, and then we broke that low right here, and then we went down and continued to build lower highs and lower lows. So this was my next lower low, which now created that lower high. According to the, with the benefit of hindsight, we can see that That is what happened. Okay, so price range around here and then broke the low finally. So now I'm playing between that high and this low. Price has pulled back. Okay, between that high and this low, price has pulled back to the premium side of the whole range. So for me, I'll be expecting some few moves from this point, either from this supply or maybe this tiny supply which was in the lower time frames, to maybe push price down lower. Another thing also to keep at the back of our mind is we have this pullback. Okay, so let me just pull this one back like that. Okay, and then continue from there. We have this pullback and then we have the move to the upside, and then we had some few range areas around here with these two candles which didn't seem to be interested in breaking or breaching this low, the pullback. So from there I'm expecting maybe price to push a bit higher to this supply before maybe continuing to the downside, maybe by breaking this low, which you obviously will be causing a change of character. Then look for a return from there and then continue to downside. But because this is the higher time frames, for me I won't really be concentrating on all that is going on here. But this just an overview to give you a clear picture of maybe what you'll be expecting, and also unlock some few confluences that maybe we could be missing, especially on the higher time frames as you break it down to the lower time frames. So weekly, let me just go there real quick. So I think weekly for the range market structure, yes, we have had the change of character here with this low being taken out, but we didn't close below. So if you ask me, I feel from here we are just going to, push price up and mitigate that monthly supply before maybe continue to the downside. So the daily, at least it's giving us some few areas for us to look at, and also some few places for us to focus on. So I have this low that broke this high, okay, like that, and then we had a return to this whole range, or rather this pullback that reacted from this supply, which pushed price up. So again we came down, okay, like that, to that demand, and then from that demand we see price pushing up. So if you notice very well, we had this pullback and then we had a higher high. Then this was, we can call it a higher low, because it also broke the high again later on and then came back again, but only to take out that low and mitigate deeper into this demand, which now push price up with the, I think, the Fed power speech that happened on Friday of 22nd of August. So for me, I'll be speculating for this price to just go up and continue to the upside, because as you can see, this pullback right here to here already had a pullback below that 50%. If you check very clearly with your naked eyes, it's very obvious that it push price lower to the 50, lower below the 50% of the equilibrium. So that means it was at a discount, and then that's what push price up and also build this order flow to the upside. Okay, so this could be the pullback and then pushing price again to the upside, so that they can continue to go on with the order flow, respecting every demand to the upside. Okay, so that's just my analysis. Now, if you check on where I'll be expecting price to come back to, so that I could focus from there, check it out, and expecting price to come back and push price higher, is that part where we have this demand that was left. It's a very huge demand. So from the lower time frames, I'm sure we will see how maybe we can what do you call it, refine it further to a specific POI that we'll be expecting for price to bounce inside this daily demand before maybe continuing to the upside. So 4 hour, excuse me. Now 4 hour was full of drama. I can say it was full of drama, because if you check very closely, I was playing, excuse me, I was playing between that high and this low, because if you check this low, it was broken right there, and then price shot to the upside. So we had this pullback that started off and left off some few areas of liquidity, which came and took them out, and then we pushed price lower, tried to go up, but only came down to take out that liquidity. And then I think this was NFP, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think this was NFP, which pushed price to the upside. So after the push to the upside, we see a pullback only to some few areas of lower time frames demand here, which actually push price to the higher side again. So here also we have a pullback. I've forgotten to draw on it, which now in that pullback, when it pushed price to the high side, came down again to close below that low, and then now we started going to the downside. So in this pullback, we only reacted to that supply and then came down to react to this demand. Now if you check very clearly right here, they were just building liquidity on both sides. So for those that saw this change of character, obviously they had started selling from here, and then they thought that they would be in profit, but that didn't happen for long, because after this liquidity taking out all this sell side liquidity, we see also that there was reaction from this demand, which push price up like that. Okay, so for those that were selling here, you can see very well that you are taken out, and for those that had their stop loss there, so they were taken out like right there. And as you can see, I already drew my liquidity lines, but I don't normally trade the 4 hours. So for 4 hours, I just check out for the liquidity areas. So again, we had a change of character, then returned to the supply. Now here is where everything got complicating, because there was a trend right here, but I'm going to show you in the lower time frames. Now I noticed coming in, I think on Monday or Friday, we had this trend line that was being built. So I noticed that there was this trend line, and so I drew on it, and I expected maybe after it got broken right here with this hanging man. I think it's the hanging man or morning star, I'm not really sure. But after the break of that candle, we see that price pushed up to this supply. For me, I was expecting to sell from there and continue to downside, but price took me out on my stop loss and then continue to the downside. So again, we see price, respecting this demand, okay? Because it respected here, and then respected here. But if you check very well, price now came back down to take out all those lows right here, and also right here and here, only for it to show us that there was this demand that was being mitigated before price continued to the upside. So for what is worth coming in next week, I was expecting actually for price to come just to here this the supply, before it continues to downside. But as you can see with the Fed power speech, we can see that price shot to the upside. So I'll be expecting maybe to see some few conferences around here that maybe will give me or convince me that maybe continue with the sell, because I'm also keeping at the back of my mind of this demand and also this demand, maybe for price to come and mitigate it before it continues to the upside. But let's not also forget that we are on a downtrend, because if you check very well, price went to the upside. Price went to the upside like that, and then came and broke that low, and then now it has done that pullback, okay, to the extreme side of the 4 hour. So I'll be expecting at least price to come and react maybe from here and then continue to the downside, but we need more conferences for that before maybe we continue to the downside. So if you want us maybe to analyze this thing in depth and also show you on the key areas to look at coming in next week, you can join my group. I'll leave the link in the description box so that you can tap on it and yeah, join me on my Telegram so that you can make this money together. So let's move on now to 15 minutes, where all the drama unfolds. So 15 minutes was all just let me say a bouncing castle, because price was ranging so much. I mean, it was just loss after loss, loss after loss, until I just gave up and said, what, I'm going to sit on my hands till next week, because I didn't want to blow my account. So I wanted to protect my money. But we have this trend to the upside. First and foremost, it broke that low, then broke that high, then changed direction, and then changed direction again to the low, breaking this low. And then as you can see, we continue to the downside like that, like that. And this was my last low, which now has pushed price up to break this high to the upside like that. So as you can see, now we have changed direction to the upside. So it might get confusing for you to look at the lower time frames, but if you understand the way we've come from a high time frame perspective, you can see very well that how we are shifting direction slowly by slowly. So yes, so let's now discuss some few losses that I had, and the reason why I had now to take a step back and not do more trades that would blow me up, and get back to hustling and looking for other ways to fund my account. So after this change of character right here, okay, I think I explained about this trade where I had a trailing stop loss there, and then price came and took me out, but only for it to come and break even and then continue to the downside. So that was a very, you can say, a very big waste, but yeah, that's just trading all the same. So we moved to the downside, and then coming now to this area where, as you can see, we had this trade, the buy trade. I hope you can see it. For me, I was expecting maybe now this move to the upside to continue and break that high, this high, to break it and then mitigate that 4 hour that we just saw, the supply, which I was expecting for it to at least reach there before we continue to the downside, but that wasn't the case. If you check very well, I think there was news around here, because when it came down to this point, I put in my buy stop, which as you can see tagged me in, and then it came to this supply right here where the last trade was. And then yeah, I think uh, going down now on Friday, if I'm not wrong, price started ranging like that. Okay, but I think I wasn't around on Friday, so I let the price play out, my trade play out. And from the benefit of hindsight, we see that there was a very big loss. So yeah, just taken an accepted kind of loss. So despite conceding, I believe that next time I will check on how I can take my partials even when price comes to uh, distances like there. Okay, I think this was 1:1 R. So maybe next time I'll try and look for partials around there before continuing to the before leaving maybe price to before letting price to come down to my stop loss. So we see that we had a pullback and then we created more lows, okay, like that. So higher high, lower high, lower low, and then we had a new brief range here which pushed price to the downside, and then we had this change of character, okay, which was broken to the upside. Price came back to this demand which pushed price to the upside. I think this was on Tuesday. Yes, now this was on Tuesday. Yes, I was around, but I was now a bit skeptical about this one because I was expecting price to at least come down to this what do you call it, to come down to this demand, okay, and then look for buys from there, because I saw that there was this liquidity being built. So I was anticipating that also this would be liquidity, and this would be the real demand that they would want to come and mitigate before continuing to the upside. So when they came down to this part, I saw or noticed that price would be ranging around here and then continue to the downside. As you can see, I had my trade there, which actually didn't turn out as expected, and that went to a loss. So this supply is what I was expecting at least price to come and touch before it continues to the downside. But if you check very well, we had a move to the upside and then change of character and then return. I think this is still on Tuesday. Now this is New York, and then New York now pushed price to the downside, which was breaking this low and then continuing now with the move to the downside. So when it came down to this part, this I think was on Tuesday still. Wow, I think I had several trades on Tuesdays. So yes, so this demand is what I was seeing next, because After them mitigating this one, I expected this one to, I was anticipating this one for being the one that would be mitigated and then continue to the upside. But as you can see, that wasn't the case again. So they came and took me out. So lower high, lower low, continue like that. That's when now, when I noticed that there was this move to the downside, I noticed also this was just liquidity being built. And then as you can see, we had a change of character. I think this was on Wednesday. Yeah, change of character right there. We had this return. Now this is where sometimes trading, plays with your psychology, because if you check very well, we had everything in line. I had everything in line. Imagine from this supply that was, sorry, this demand that was here, price came to, okay, after also breaking that low. Number one, it broke this low, mitigated that demand, okay, gave me the change of character. This is where now things get funny. It gave me this change of character to the upside like that, and price continued going to the upside. And Frankfurt Open came and took these guys out, taking out this liquidity, only for it also to mitigate this demand, which now push price to the upside. So if I had my trade there, and especially this was on the Frankfurt, this would have been a very good trade to the upside, like that would have been a very good trade. If it was the 3R according to my plan, that would have played very, very well. So yes, mitigated that demand, broke that trend line, mitigated this demand, which actually gave us the change of character, and also broke the last low of the 15-minute, and then continued to the upside like that. So you see how smart money concepts sometimes can really give you clear picture of how or what to expect in the trades. So anywho, after missing out on that one, I noticed that, I think this was on Wednesday, price came in to mitigate that supply, and then came down to this demand. And then from this demand is where now I took my trade right here. And then I wanted to, go continue with it to the upside, to at least break this high, and also to mitigate the supply, which wasn't mitigated until later. So after holding my trades for a very long time, you can see, I think this was on Thursday, I wasn't around, so I let the trade play out. Eventually it got taken out again. Okay, so you see how things can really get really confusing, because I don't even want to, that those were just enough losses. I don't even want to explain what happened here, because this was another loss, you know now with my emotions being confused on its own. I was facing all sort of kinds of emotions, because I have several trades, I have four more, and I had so much that was out of control for me. And later on, I just had to take a step back and don't take any trade again. So the next trade I took was on this one. Also for this one, I put in my group, and I expect was telling guys, at least because this low was broken, we could be seeing some few bounces from here, and then continue to the upside. But this, I think, happened on Thursday, which eventually, again, later on during the Asian, they came and took them out. So what is happening right now? Price pulled back after mitigating that 4-hour demand, and then created a low, and then in that low we broke this previous high, which now gave us a change of character. And then we saw now price starting to respect areas of a point of interest, especially the demand for this case, because it was moved to the upside. So we see that this pullback respected this demand, and then pushed price higher. Then this pullback respected this demand and pushed price to the upside. So in this trade, I was because I face also kinds of disappointments during the week. You can see very well that this one, I didn't place this one, but I was just monitoring it to see if maybe they've come down and they're not all over the place taking out people's money and all that. So what happened is I was just monitoring this one, and as you can see, it respected that virtual trade, and obviously hitting take profit, because we had multiple of highs here that are building liquidity and looking for them to be taken out. So later on, we had a change of character here. Now this is where I got confused. I think so Friday. This is why I got confused because we had a change of character here. So I was expecting price to at least bounce off from this supply and then continue to the downside. But as you can see, price went to the upside. So what I can say is I would have taken that trade, but because I'm with the prop accounts, I'm with the prop farms, I didn't want to risk so much because of the rules. So I just had to sit on my hands. And also from my live account, I didn't want to engage on that because, after all those losses, you can tell how my live account would really be looking like right now, with all those losses. Okay, so I don't want to talk about that because it will, uh, bring back the trauma that I have during this week because I'm still trying to wipe my tears and console myself. But coming in next week, I think because of the news rule, we can see very well that price respected this demand, and it respected with this candle, which was 15 minutes before the actual news. So next time I'll be very watchful about that. Maybe take a risk from there with a low um, lot before maybe looking to see if they break something like this low next time. Then I'll just be very wise enough to just close the trade after maybe 5 minutes window rule that they normally have. So anywho, going back to 4 hour, we see that now price has pulled back, or rather continued to the upside, according to the way the trend has been. But also I'll be checking to see whether this supply will hold and look for confluences there from the lower time frames, and see maybe if we can continue to the downside with that pair. So I don't have much on Euro USD. Let's now jump to USD CHF before we close down the episode. Okay, so USD CHF, very interesting pair, and I love it because it's very much opposite. It's very much opposite with the Euro USD. So strap up, we're about to see some more drama from this pair, just like Euro USD. So anywho, I have that low, okay, which created that high and then closed down below that low. So for me, I'll be expecting at least for the downtrend to continue. So maybe this supply to hold price and then push it to the downside like that. A little bit of clues that we are seeing with this doji, I guess, and then this engulfing kind of a candle, which now looks to give us more conviction that we could be continuing to the downside with USDCHF. So that was a weekly. The daily also filled with more drama. You can see very well that the same structure that we had on the weekly is also on the daily. So let's just try and pull it, zoom in like that. Okay, so right here we had a return to that supply, and then we see some few pullbacks to this deep demand right here, which actually pushed price to the upside. But before that, we had this pullback, then that high, and then break below that low, which caused a change of character. And then now this pullback to that supply was just the mitigation, and also coming to pick up more orders from there before it continues to the downside. Now, if you check very well, we had this pullback from here just after this low got created. When it was coming up like that, we see this pullback, okay, with this through this candle, and then we went to the upside, and then coming down like that, we cause another change of character. So now we have two change of characters that now are proving to maybe show us that price will be continuing to the downside. So after that change of character, we also see that all these candles were just pullbacks to mitigate to the supply. As you can see, all these candles, the way they are closing above the previous candle. Okay, so that was the pullback. And then from there, now we kind of range around here like that. And then for this candle, and also for the news that happened on Friday, the Fed power speech, we see that excuse me, price was pushed to the lower side. So coming in on Friday, I noticed that with this kind of box, which I call it the fair value box, actually the range box. This was what I drew, to just analyze and ask myself what is really going on inside this area of return to this supply. So as you can see, we had a change of character and then had the second return to the supply, which looks to be the one that pushed price to the downside. So because now we had that range, I also drew this middle purple line, okay, so that in any areas that price will be above the range, my range, then I'll be taking some few areas of, I'll be taking some few cells. But in any area that price was below my 50% of the range, I'll be looking to see if I can get some few buying opportunities. But for this matter, the selling sell traders are the ones that won, and as you can see, they push price to the lower side, according to the hindsight that we're having with this pair. So going in on 4 hour, I won't want to explain much, but as you can see, my range is between that high and that low. And we see that price shot up like that and then came down. We had a change of character here with this blue dotted line, which pushed price to the downside. I think this was the NFP. And then with that pullback to the supply on the daily, we see also on the 15, sorry, on the 4 hour. And as you can see, it played out very well. Also, don't forget the range that we had. As you can see, it was actually, price was just playing in between here before, excuse me, decided to continue to the downside. So change of character also, which was this one for the daily. I think there was one here for the 4 hour, but it wasn't that visible. But if you go to the 15 minute, you will see such kind of thing that we always expect. So yes, we see also a range inside a range like that, which was actually building liquidity here and also here, and then price pushed down to come and take those guys out, and then it pushed up. So if you check very well, there was this trade that I was expecting. We had a change of character here, and then price pushed up. That's when I noticed that this would be, the moment right here. It would be the moment where now we push price to the downside and come and mitigate few areas of demand here that were left after NFP here. Okay, after NFP. So as you can see, yes, the price went very well. Tagged me in. I was in the trade, but came still came back up, and that's when I remembered maybe we have this the supply that they could want to mitigate before continuing to the downside. So if you ask me, yes, this was a very good trade, and I already made peace with my losses, understanding that if it did come up and take me out, then I'll just be assuming that this was just liquidity being taken out, and I would be part of it. But if I had moved my stop loss from here maybe to somewhere around here, then that would not make any sense, even though my trade would have gone my way to hit my take profit. So as you can see, yeah, price went my way, but not that much over time. I think 2 days later price came and took me out to create this high, and then now before this low, before this move to the downside broke this low, we had a pullback here. We had a pullback with this, I think, Hangman or Doji, and then after that pullback, price pushed to the upside and then came down to break that low. So meaning now that was change of character. So maybe from this point or this point, we would see some few pullbacks either to the whole range, the buy to sell range, okay, move to the upside like that before continuing to the downside according to the higher time frame perspective that we just saw on the daily and the weekly. So now let's go to the 15 minute to see on areas maybe where we'll be expecting price to go to, and also with the losses and the hesitations that I had. So where is Monday? Where is Monday? Actually, where is Tuesday? Let's see. So Tuesday was here, around here. Um, I think I explained about some few trades here on my last video, so I'll only start off from August 19th, that is around here. So if you check very well, we had this move to the upside and then break of that low, which was a change of character. This was on Tuesday now. Yes, this was on Tuesday, and as you can see, waking up in the AM, there was still no more conviction for me, and also my plan doesn't allow me to trade during the Asian session. But as you can see, it respected all those supply areas like that. And this one respected here, and also came and took them out. I think on during Frankfurt. This was yeah, this was Frankfurt 6:15. This was Frankfurt. So you see now with the way emotions can and psychology can really get trapped, it's because now seeing opportunities like this would not really actually give you the conviction or the confidence to take a trade because of the several losses that one can actually have, especially is it consistently, yes, or consecutively. So yes, so that supply got respected, price pushed to the downside, and I was anticipating at least price to come and respect this demand because there was a change of character here. So price came back inside there, and as you can see, I think I had like three trades here. I like three trades here expecting, to push or maybe expect price to continue to the upside, but that wasn't the case, meaning they had another demand here that they wanted to come and mitigate deeply. So yeah, it is what it is. Price came down again to push price to the downside, and then we had a deeper law that was created again, which now that was the one that broke that high and caused a change of character, and now started to respect the demand areas like that. Okay, so coming up to this zone or this area of supply, I was expecting also maybe for price to come and push price to the lower side, but as you can see, it actually tagged me but didn't stay for long. It came and took me out, and then yeah, continued to the upside, only for them later on to come and do the actual move to the downside to this demand and then push price to the upside. So you see how that all that was really traumatizing for me. Okay, so now because of all that happened, I noticed that there was this change of character on Wednesday. Okay, right there was that change of character, and price pullback respected this supply and then continued to the downside. So this is when now FOMO hit me. Sorry, psychology was really affected, and yeah, I fear taking the next trade, thinking that maybe we'll come to another loss. So I let that go again. Price pull back to that supply right there, and then pushed again to break that loss. So meaning that now we were switching bearish on the uh, internal break of structure internal structure. So we see after the low being broken here, they mitigated that demand where I had this another trade, and it failed again because price tagged me but still came down to my stop loss, and then eventually they were actually they were looking to target this demand down here. So all these losses explained is just to show you how much of importance that trading can be sometimes, that if you face a couple of lows, you should not give up. Just try and analyze it on your hands, analyze the charts clearly again from the high time frame for you to understand how things really work, and sometimes they can actually help you take a break so that you don't get used to your screen time or maybe taking time on your screen. So yes, we had several moves to the upside like that, breaking the internal structure as you can see and building more highs. Okay, so price went up. I think this was on Thursday. I wasn't around. So up until on Friday now, I came to notice that we had this move to the upside. Okay, had this move to the upside and then caused a change of character right here. Then price pulled back to somewhat some few areas of supply, which now pushed price lower like that, and then came again to respect this supply and also play around with this demand that was looking to hold, but eventually price came and got everyone taken out by the move to that low. So if you check very well again, we had this pullback which pushed price lower to this demand, which actually gave us a change of character. So just like Euro USD, remember the bearish change of character, also this one created a bullish change of character. Okay, that one was the bearish, this one is a bullish change of character. So I was expecting at least price to react from this demand before continuing to the upside, or maybe just come to here to induce more buyers and then continue to the downside. But yes, I was actually ready to take this one despite the news, but price didn't reach that level. So yeah, in at this point now is where um I was a bit doubtful, and I was asking myself, maybe this could hold, maybe this could hold, because if you check also this corrective pullback like that and downtrend could be also inducement. So price would be looking maybe to take people out like that and then take out the guys like that, but that wasn't the case. And as you can see from the benefit of hindsight, we have this inside bar, which was actually the pullback on the 15 minute. That was the one, excuse me, that was the one that was used to take out all those guys. But despite all that, I had this trend line drawn on, and I knew that with this trend line, after the break and the return to that zone, I was expecting it to come deeper to this one, but it only came to this zone and then continue to the downside to take out all these buyers that were lining up expecting for price to continue to the upside. So you see, from the daily perspective, we can see very well that it is just from this demand that they were targeting. Okay, they were targeting this demand, which was the one that was used to push price to the downside and also uh, break this range, this whole range. So seeing the 15 minutes now, looking at it and have an overview of what was really going on. Let's just take a peep of that. Let me just remove these ones very quick. Okay, and then this one being the last one, I guess. Yes, so if you check very well, we were actually ranging also on the 15 minute. Okay, we were actually ranging also on the 15 minute, as you can see. Price came down like that and then created that high. NFP shot it down, and then now we were ranging just around those areas. Okay, we were just ranging around those areas. So it would, yes, it was risky for me, but only until Friday is when I just looked at my whole structure and overview to see on how actually price was behaving and why. So after I noticed that there was this range, I was now scared to face any trade. Okay, and that's when now I actually hesitated on my live account because I think on the 5 minute there was a trade that I took, yeah, right there. So let me see if I can explain that real quick before we close up for the weekend. So coming in on Friday, I had this change of character. So when price was now respecting every signs or areas of supply like that, it came down to here. Okay, where I notice same change of character that will happen in the 15 minutes. It's the same change of character that also happened in the 5. So during this pullback now with this inside bar, that's when I took my buy stop here, and then price went my way. So after I noticed that it came here and news was about to, come in, I figured out maybe, just maybe, they would come and take me out. So price was moved to my break even. And yeah, as you can see, it all came and took me out. So I won't want to say much about this, but only to let you know that you need to always, especially after taking a trade, go back to the higher time frame, do your analysis again afresh so that you can see on areas maybe you could be missing, or the areas that maybe could give you another aha moment to maybe see or confirm more that your strategy will work and your trade will give you the profit that you're expecting. So for myself, I was, yes, from Euro USD and USD CHF, I was really looking forward to get this trade both ways. That means for a sell for this one from this point and a buy from Euro USD from, that area of demand that we just looked at. But that didn't happen. So why? Because of psychology being affected and also the losses that I had. But coming in next week, I think I'll be confident enough to say, you know what, I'd rather risk low, but also look to see on how I can continue to take my trades confidently and never to fear anything. So right now I can't say, or I can't tell of the next move from the lower time frames with the USD CHF and Euro USD, but I'll just want to see more of the development before maybe looking to play pullbacks or continuing with the trend to the downside, especially for USD CHF. Um, for Euro USD, also I'll be expecting price to at least get to here before maybe looking for opportunities to the downside. So that's just it. That's how now I look at things, and that is what I'll be expecting coming in next week. So I don't have much to say. I just want to let you know that if you want to trade together, you can let me know in my inbox, or if you want to get the signals and also look at the market in a depth way, help to get money together, you can also join my Telegram group for free. I'll leave the link in the description box below. All the same, I don't have much. You guys have a nice weekend, and don't forget to show your brother some love inside that sharing and all that thing, sharing and liking, subscribing, and all that. So yeah, I don't have much, but you guys have a nice weekend, and yeah, good day. God bless. I hope you took some value from that. Have a nice day.